his ball above all.
Chris,
You're
next on the ball. You're next.
Here we go.
You're next on the rock.
Sometimes it makes you a pony.
I'll come to you.
Okay.
First up.
Yeah.
Where do we rank Barkley in history? Why is he always disrespected?
Yes, let's
Ooh,
talk
you want
about
to start
I
off?
have a hard question on Barkley.
That's a great question.
All right.
Yeah, really good one.
All right. Okay. So I'll start it off. I believe that Barkley's still got to be in your top 20 lists of greatest players of all time. And the reason why I say that is if you break down again deeply into what Barkley did on bad teams. You know, we're talking about Barkley having to take these teams by himself to the playoffs. And yes, he was out of shape. Yes, you could talk about the fact that maybe he didn't work out. Was that a big thing back then? Possibly not. But at the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. Okay, people are going to beat him now over the time and the way the game has changed in terms of the time that he played. And not to mention, the guy he was playing against, in my opinion, is the best player. And look at me, Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. So he was playing against that guy. How were you going to win during that time? At the end of the day, I think he gets disrespected because he speaks his mind.
Yeah.
Barkley is, and Tristan was saying, or Riffick was saying this earlier, like you look at the older guys of the game and the commentators of today and the desks like this, and these guys played the game and they played at a high level. They're all-stars, superstars, and they just can't buy into the way the game has changed. But they're not looking at it from a monetary value and a point of where people are making money. So the game is changing because it's about what are we gonna do to sell more tickets and get more people into the actual seats. So guys like Barkley are never gonna understand where guys are not playing defense, ISO basketball, the James Hardens of the world. Like, they're just not gonna get it, and they never will. But I think Barkley just talks things that are real. If we really break down to the way the game was back then versus the way it is now, would some of these guys have lasted in the back day game? Or the numbers, would they have been that great? There's a small percentage, in my opinion, I think people just disrespect, and he's country. Let's face it. He's from Alabama. He talks with a country accent. It's just disrespect off of that. But that's just my opinion. Riff, I give it to you.
Yeah. What was the question again?
Where does he rank? And
Where do we rank Barkley in history, and why is he always disrespected?
Okay. I don't know why he's always disrespected. I don't think he should be disrespected. I think he sucks as an analyst. I hate hearing him talk.
The key is whatever Barkley predicts, go the opposite.
I think
go the opposite.
He's up there for his personality. To Delani's point, he was very outspoken when he played, but I think he's nothing. Like, when I hear him talk now, I don't hear the Charles Barkley that I heard back in the day who used to cuss off refs. I hear a guy who's almost senile. Like, I don't know. Anyways, but where does Barkley rank to me? Like, I have a hard time putting him in the rare air. Like, if there's a upper echelon, I don't think he's in it. I think he was, like, if Jordan's a superstar, I think Barkley's an all-star. I can't put Barkley in the same category as the greats. But was he exceptional? Was he an undersized guy that did damage, and did he make his presence felt? Did he build a reputation for himself in the league? Yes. Did he get an MVP? Yes. Did he have good playoff performances? Yes, he was a good player, borderline great. But if we're going to say guys like Jordan, Elijah, and all these guys are great, I have a hard time putting Barkley on their level. So for that reason, by default, he's not great to me. He's just a very good player. If he goes down in the Hall of Fame, I always want to understand why more, because right now I don't fully understand what it is about his career that got him in the Hall of Fame. I would love to discuss that maybe on a later date. Is he Hall of Fame worthy? I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? That's just where I stand. He's good. He has a place in the history of the game. So, do we put a number on it or something? Like,
no, you don't have to. I just threw one out there, but it's up to you.
Okay, he's not like a top 20 guy for me. You know what I mean?
Okay, so where do I start? Barkley. So as far as Hall of Fame goes, and when I've looked it up anyways, so there's only 178 players in the Hall of Fame, and there's been like, I don't know, over 4,000. I was just looking this up the other day.
Yeah,
over 4,000 players
In
ever.
the history, yeah.
In the players ever. And I noticed, because not all of them are winning MVP, right? Well, that's impossible. I think only 35 players have ever won MVP. And then not all of them are hitting game winners and stuff like that. But the factor that a lot of them had was multiple All NBAs. And I think that's what you can make a deciding factor when you're trying to figure out who's one of the greatest players ever. If you are capable of being a top 15 player in the NBA for multiple years, that's where your respect is coming from. So from the guys that played in his era, they always respect him because he was one of the best players every single season, which is tough to do.
Yeah.
You know, there's even some guys that get All-Stars that have been to the All-Star game plenty times, but don't have a lot of All NBAs. So I guess it really depends on what you put your weight on.
Great
I
point.
definitely
That's a good
put
point,
a
yeah.
weight on All NBAs.
Great point.
So,
I'm gonna look it up right now. How
You
many?
know what I'm
Because
saying?
I don't
Yeah.
like 15 though. Because third team to me is like, you're pushing it. First team, second team, maybe.
yeah.
So top 10, let's say. Because
Yeah,
15, third team,
You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of the reason too why Charles Barkley is, you know, given the credit that he's given.
I'm looking
Also
up
too,
all
man, you know, those NBA finals that he went to, man, and you know, he's getting double doubles nightly and stuff. Like Charles Barkley's playing career was amazing, and there hasn't been a lot of guys to do what he's done, regardless of however you feel about him, you know. So I think that in this modern day, right, with Instagram and Twitter and that type of stuff, they just continue to put clips up of him making mistakes on TV with, you know, maybe his grammar or whatever, and we forget how good of a basketball player this guy
That's
actually
true.
Yeah,
actually
true.
was.
Yeah.
So for me, someone that, you know, I have a big, I don't know what the word to use is. I put a lot of weight on you know, stats and you know, your ability to be consistent and the rosters that you played on and things like that. I regardless have a lot of respect for him. So, you know,
5-time all.
I think he's like, you know, top 50, top 75 for sure. That's
I'll give him top 75 for
that's
sure.
That's where I'm.
But I don't know if
That's
does
where I'm putting him for sure.
Yeah, I think I'll start with the disrespected side of things as well. And I think, again, to your point around this new era, Instagram, everything is kind of digestible in a different format. And he's not the most eloquent person, let's just call it that, when he's on camera, right? And he doesn't, you know, he fumbles on different words and so forth.
Yes,
and he just comes across with different, you know, predictions that people are like, oh, Charles said this. So people in the modern era have to look up clips of him on YouTube to really understand his greatness. So I feel that the disrespect comes from that, because the product that you see of Charles Barkley right now is what you see on TV. You don't see the
So true. Good point.
you
Good
don't
point.
see the
Big
greatness
facts.
of him back in the 80s and the 90s. And when I look at him in the 80s and 90s, he was drafted in 84, if I remember correctly, with Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you.
And he played in the same era as Michael Jordan. But also I like to compare him in that era with Karl Malone, one of the greatest power forwards as well. That he came in that era, and I would say Karl Malone is a better power forward than he was, looking at his overall stats. So in his own era, he wasn't even the greatest power forward in that era. He went to the finals one time, won the MVP, went to Houston, tried to get that chip with that team right at the end, didn't happen. But he's still, without a doubt, you look at his full body of work, rebounds, I think he still has one of the highest rebounding averages of all time, if I'm not mistaken. We just verified his
I can read it off.
his
right now.
all-stars
Yeah, read it,
as
read it.
well.
NBA. Sorry to cut you.
No,
Chris,
go
man.
for it.
NBA Most Valuable Player, 11-time NBA All-Star, NBA All-Star Game MVP, 5-time First Team All NBA, 5-time Second Team, All NBA Third Team in '96, NBA All Rookie Team in '85, NBA Rebounding Leader in '87.
Look, we don't need to go on.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Once
Chris,
you have that many All NBAs, your
you're-
Hall of Fame ballot is like you're usually first, second, like for sure. If you have that many All NBAs.
In the
Yeah.
words of Jay-Z, numbers don't lie. So
Yeah.
the guy is top 50, top 70 of all time. One of
Yeah.
the greatest power forwards, maybe behind Tim Duncan and Karl Malone, maybe third or fourth. I would
And,
put
and,
him.
and then we also, to your point, we also have to look at the fact that he also revolutionized the game.
Yeah.
He's what, 6'5", 6'4"?
Yeah, he's 6'5" and one of the
Yeah.
greatest. You could classify him as
one
the
of the-
best rebounder per size. Maybe Rodman. Rodman what was 6'8",
6'9".
Yeah,
6'8",
6'9",
6'9".
yeah.
So you could flip a coin,
He's still
maybe.
4 inches
Yeah.
shorter than Rodman. That's
Yeah.
huge.
So disrespected for the reasons I mentioned, but definitely one of the greatest players in the top 50 to 70. That's your elite.
Yeah,
You're in the top 1% of
Definitely.
basketball players of all time.
that's
so,
what I'm saying. Man. There's only
Yeah.
4,000 ever. You know,
Yeah, you're walking the earth. You're one of the greatest players of all time. You're living pretty good.
yeah,
I just think, like you said, to your point, I think the only reason why people disrespect him is everything you just said. They just do it because how he speaks,
Yeah.
and he talks in an era where everybody's very sensitive. He just says what's on his mind, and people don't like that.
Yeah, it's a very sensitive new age.